Here is a great, deep, detailed summary of Ghazi Tughlaq's early career, written in very clear, simple English, but with rich explanation and meaning behind every part. Summary of Ghazi Tughlaq's early career, in rich detail. 1. Born from a humble and mixed background. Ghazi Tughlaq was not born into royalty, power, or a noble family. His background was simple, even low status. His father was a Turkish slave who served under Sultan Balban, a former ruler of Delhi. That means his father's freedom or status. He was literally someone else's property. His mother was a Jat woman from the Punjab region. Jats were a local Indian party. This means Ghazi came from a mixed cultural background, half Central Asian, half Indian from his mother. And socially, he belonged to the lower classes, which made his rise even more extraordinary. 2. Started as a simple soldier. He began his life not in palaces or courts, but as a common foot soldier, just a regular man in the army, one of thousands. He had no special title, wealth, or family connections, but he had 3 key things. Talent. He was smart and skilled, discipline, and hard work. By using these, he slowly earned the respect of his superiors and climbed up the ranks. 3. Hard work and ability. Unlike many rulers who inherited power, Ghazi built his career from the ground up. His rise was not by luck or family, it was by his military skill. He was a great commander, bravery in battle, and sense of responsibility. Eventually, his effort was recognized, and in 1305 CE, he was promoted to a major position. 4. Made governor of Punjab. In 1305, he was appointed as the governor of Punjab, a very important and strategic region in northwest India. His headquarters, main city, was Dipalpur, which is in present-day Pakistan. Why was Punjab important? Because it was on the front line, the area most likely to be attacked by foreign invaders, especially the Mongols. So this wasn't just a reward, it was a huge responsibility. 5. Defender of India against the Mongols. One of Ghazi Tughlaq's greatest achievements was how brilliantly he defended India's northwest border from the Mongol invasions. The Mongols were one of the most dangerous warrior groups in the world at that time, known for their speed, cruelty, and destruction, coming again and again into Indian territory to loot and conquer. Ghazi Tughlaq faced them in battle 29 times, and won every single time. This was a huge military success and made him famous across the empire. 6. He earned the title Malikul Ghazi. For these victories, he was given the title Malikul Ghazi, which means Malik equals chief or leader. Ghazi equals a warrior who fights for Islam, especially against non-believers. This title showed he was not just a great general, but also a religious defender, someone who protected Islam and the Muslim kingdom from foreign, non-Muslim invaders. 7. Powerful noble under later rulers. As time went on, the Delhi Sultanate saw a few new rulers. Ghazi Tughlaq remained important under each of them. During the last years of Alauddin Khalji's rule, Ghazi had become one of the most powerful nobles in the entire kingdom, even though he was originally from a slave background. Even after Alauddin's death, under the next ruler Qutb-ud-din Mubarak, he kept his position. That means people respected him, and even kings did not want to remove him. At this point, Ghazi was more powerful than most other nobles. 8. Conflict with the new Sultan, Khusrav Shah. When another king, Khusrav Shah, came to power, he tried to be friendly with Ghazi Tughlaq. He confirmed Ghazi in his old job, let him stay governor of Punjab, tried to win him over to avoid rebellion. But it didn't work. Why? Because Ghazi Tughlaq and his son Fakhruddin Jona had their own ambition. They wanted more than just a governor's seat. They wanted to rule Delhi themselves. 9. Religious beliefs and opposition to Khusrav. Ghazi Tughlaq was a very traditional and orthodox Muslim. This means he followed old, strict religious rules. He believed kings should do the same. But Khusrav Shah was seen as too liberal, maybe too friendly with non-Muslims or too soft in rule. This, plus Ghazi's ambition for power, led him to organize a rebellion against the Sultan. 10. Khusrav defeated and killed. Ghazi Tughlaq and his supporters defeated Khusrav Shah in battle. Khusrav was killed, and Ghazi marched into Delhi as a conqueror. He was no longer just a noble or governor. He was now the most powerful man in the kingdom. 11. Pretended to look for a new heir. After his victory, Ghazi Tughlaq did not immediately declare himself king. Instead, he pretended to search for someone from the old royal family, a descendant of Ghiyas-ud-din Khalji, to put on the throne. But many believe this was just a show to make people think he was a humble, fair man. In truth, he wanted to be king all along. 12. Becomes king, Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq. Finally, on September 8, 1320, he took the throne for himself. He took the official name Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq Shah Ghazi. He was now the founder of the Tughlaq dynasty, and a new chapter in Delhi's history had begun. 13. First Delhi Sultan to use Ghazi in his title. He was the first king of Delhi to include the word Ghazi in his royal name. Why? Because he was proud of his warrior past, and he wanted to show that. He was a fighter for Islam, a defender of the empire, and a king who earned his throne through battle, not birth. Final thoughts, deep meaning. Ghazi Tughlaq's story is inspiring and complex. He rose from the lowest class, the son of a slave and a village woman, and became Sultan of Delhi. He proved that talent and effort can be stronger than blood and birth. But he also played the game of power, using religious image and public sympathy to win hearts, even if he wasn't always honest about his intentions. He was a warrior, a strategist, a religious symbol, and a political mastermind. Would you like a timeline of his early life? A visual mind map? Or the comic version of this story? Let me know, I'll explain it in your favorite format. Here is a great, deep and detailed summary of Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq's domestic policy, explained in a way that is both thorough and very simple to understand, like a master teacher telling a complete story to a curious student. Title: Domestic Policy of Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq, 1320 to 1325 CE. Domestic policy equals the actions and decisions a ruler takes within his own country, not dealing with war or foreign powers. Summary in deep, rich detail. 1. Bringing peace after chaos. When Ghiyas-ud-din became Sultan, the Delhi Sultanate had just come out of violent political conflict. The last ruler, Khusrav Shah, had been killed. The government was in disorder. People were scared, confused and divided, especially nobles. Ghiyas-ud-din knew that if he wanted to rule properly, he had to calm the storm first. So his first goal was to win the support and loyalty of the nobles, the powerful ministers and generals, and the common people. He did not start with punishment or cruelty. He began with clever kindness and fairness. 2. Uniting the Turkish nobles. Ghiyas-ud-din had an important advantage. He came from a pure Turkish background. This mattered because many powerful people in Delhi's court were also Turkish. They trusted him more because of shared ethnicity and culture. So he had no trouble gaining their loyalty. They saw him as one of us. This helped him to easily take control over the government and army. 3. Respect toward the defeated Khalji royal family. After the Khalji dynasty fell, many of its members were killed or imprisoned, but Ghiyas-ud-din showed grace and wisdom. He arranged marriages for the Khalji royal women who had survived. This was not just generous, it was politically smart. Why? It showed he respected royal bloodlines. It reduced the chances of revenge from Khalji supporters. It created alliances with families who married the women. Forgiveness for most of Khusrav Shah's supporters. Ghiyas knew that many nobles and officers had supported Khusrav Shah, his enemy. But instead of punishing them all, he acted like a wise politician. He didn't remove them from their jobs. He confirmed them in their posts. Why was this smart? If he had punished everyone, they might rebel. By forgiving them, he turned former enemies into loyal servants. He showed the kingdom that he was a fair and stable ruler. 5. Strictness with real enemies. However, Ghiyas was not soft with everyone. Some people had been active fighters against him, deeply loyal, involved in crimes or conspiracies, removed from office, their lands taken back. This showed that while he was forgiving, he was not weak. Enemies would still face justice. 6. Reversing past injustices. During Ghiyas-ud-din Khalji's rule, some people had been unfairly punished or had their lands stolen. Ghiyas looked into these cases and returned land to rightful owners. Why is this important? It helped restore faith in the government. It showed Ghiyas-ud-din cared about justice, not just power. This earned him respect and support from many sections of society. 7. Recovering the lost royal wealth. The royal treasury, money storage in bad shape. Ghiyas took power. Why? Khusrav Shah had wasted a lot of money on gifts and rewards. During the confusion after Khusrav's fall, people had stolen treasure. Ghiyas-ud-din made it a priority to get this money back. He sent officials to find out where the money went, ask people to return it, use power where needed to recover it. This showed he was financially wise and wanted a strong economy. 8. Conflict with religious leaders. A problem arose when Ghiyas tried to recover money from religious figures who had taken gifts from Khusrav. One example, Sheikh Nizam-ud-din Awliya, a very famous and holy Sufi saint, had received 5 lakh tankers, a huge amount. When asked to return it, the sheikh said, "I already gave it away as charity to the poor." Ghiyas was furious, but also helpless. The saint was greatly respected by all classes, popular with common people and nobles alike. If the Sultan punished him, it would create huge unrest or even a religious crisis. So even though he was king, he had to step back. 9. Using religion to silence the saint, failed attempt. Ghiyas tried a different strategy. He told scholars, "This saint is doing strange religious practices, singing and dancing. That is not allowed in Islam." He was referring to Sufi traditions, such as Qawwali's spiritual singing, dancing by Darvish mystics, which strict Sunni scholars sometimes rejected. So the Sultan asked 53 Islamic scholars to give a religious ruling, but they all replied, "No, these are acceptable forms of devotion in Islam." Ghiyas failed again. He could not attack the saint either through power or through religion. Mashas 10. Mostly successful in recovering the lost wealth. Even though he couldn't recover the saint's money, Ghiyas was successful with most others. Many nobles returned what they had taken. The stolen or wasted treasure was mostly recovered. This meant the kingdom's economy became stable again. Final deep summary in 10 points. Key point. Deep meaning. 1. Built peace. Calmed the nobles and people first, no revenge. 2. Used Turkish identity. United Turkish nobles easily due to shared culture. Respected defeated royal women. Married off Khalji women respectfully, avoiding scandal and gaining support. 4. Forgave most Khusrav supporters. Smart politics, avoided mass punishment, built loyalty. 5. Punished only strong enemies. Balanced justice, not soft, not cruel. 6. Returned stolen lands. Fixed old wrongs from previous rulers. Earned people's trust. 7. Recovered lost treasure. Smart money management, built back a strong treasury. 8. Failed to recover money from a saint. Couldn't touch the powerful and loved Sheikh Nizam-ud-din Awliya. Failed religious attack on Sufism. Tried to use religion but scholars. 10. All success. Despite minor failures, his domestic policy was fair, practical, and mostly successful. Ghiyas-ud-din's image after this. Seen as just and clever, used kindness and strategy together, kept peace with nobles and people, respected religious boundaries even when frustrated, brought stability after chaos. Would you like a comic strip version of this summary? A timeline of all these actions? Or a dialogue scene, like a play, showing Ghiyas talking to his ministers and the saint? I can make it in any form you like. Absolutely. Here's a great, deep and detailed summary of Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq's communication and justice reforms, written in the simplest language possible, with extra information, examples and connections to make everything crystal clear, even for someone with no background in history. Summary. Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq's communication and justice reforms. Background. When Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq became Sultan, king of Delhi in 1320 CE, the kingdom was disorganized. The justice system was broken. Roads, bridges and messages were not properly maintained. People didn't feel safe or connected to the central government. He wanted to fix all this and build a stronger, better organized empire. 1. Communication reforms. Ghiyas-ud-din understood something very smart. If I want to control such a big empire, I need fast, safe roads and a way to send news quickly. So he started fixing and building things that help the government and people connect better. A. Roads and transport. Old roads were cleared and repaired. New roads were made in places where there was no easy travel before. Bridges were built across rivers and streams, so travel could happen all year. Forts were constructed to protect important routes and borders. Canals were dug to carry water to farms, helping with both travel and farming. Why this mattered? Good roads equal faster armies, easier trade, faster tax collection, and quick emergency response. Forts equals protection from rebels or enemies. Canals equals more water, more crops, more tax income. B. Postal system, fast message delivery. India already had a very old method of sending messages called the postal system. But Ghiyas-ud-din made it much faster and more organized. How it worked. 1. Messages were carried by runners, people who ran short distances. 2. Also carried by horsemen who rode longer distances. They were stationed, runners every 2/3 of a mile, about 1 kilometer apart. Horsemen every 7 to 8 miles, about 11 to 13 kilometers apart. This created a relay system like a baton race. One person would run or ride a certain distance, hand the message to the next person, and so on. Non-stop, day and night. Result: messages could travel 100 miles, 160 kilometers in just 12 hours. That means the king could hear about trouble or war on the same day it happened far away. It helped the central government control the entire kingdom more efficiently. This system became one of the fastest and most reliable in the medieval world. 2. Justice reforms. Another major problem before Ghiyas became king. The justice system, law, courts, punishments had fallen apart under weak rulers. People didn't get fair trials, suffered from corruption, or were tortured unnecessarily, especially poor people who couldn't pay taxes. Ghiyas wanted to fix this. A. Repaired the Justice Department. He restructured, fixed and reorganized the Department of Justice. Courts began working properly again. Judges and officers were monitored more strictly. His goal: law and order should protect people, not scare them. B. Stop torture for state debts. What is a state debt? It's when someone owes money to the government, like unpaid taxes or loans. Ghiyas passed a rule. You are not allowed to torture someone just because they owe money to the government. Example: if a farmer had a bad harvest and couldn't pay tax, he would not be beaten or harmed. This was a merciful and fair reform. It showed Ghiyas cared about ordinary people. C. But allowed tough punishment for serious crimes. Ghiyas made one thing clear. He would show mercy to honest people in trouble, but he would be strict with real criminals. So torture and hard punishment were still allowed for 1. Thieves who stole from people. 2. Revenue defaulters who refused to pay tax on purpose. 3. Embezzlers, government officers who stole public money. Why the difference? Because honest poor equals deserve help. Dishonest criminals deserve punishment. This balanced system made people trust the law while also fearing it when needed. Final highlights. Reform type: what Ghiyas did, why it mattered, helped both transport farming. Roads: repaired and built new ones. Easier travel, trade, tax collection. Bridges and canals built for crossing rivers and watering crops, and farming. Postal system improved runners to message delivery across the empire. Justice reform: fixed courts and banned torture for debt. Fairer treatment for common people. Strong punishment. Strict with thieves and tax cheats. Protected government money and law. Conclusion. Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq was more than just a warrior. He was a wise ruler, an organizer, and a visionary king. He understood that a strong empire, smooth roads, fast communication, fair laws, protected people, honest tax collection. His reforms in communication and justice helped make the Delhi Sultanate more connected, more peaceful, and more trustworthy for common people. His rule showed a balance of efficiency, mercy, and discipline. Would you now like a comic version of this summary? A map of the postal system? Ghiyas built? A mini-drama script between the king, a judge, and a poor farmer. Let me know and I'll happily create it for you next. Here is a great, deep and detailed summary of Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq's treatment of Hindus and his religious policies, written in the simplest language, with clear points, background explanations, and extra insights to help you understand not just what happened, but why it mattered. Deep, detailed summary. Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq's treatment of Hindus and his religious policy. 1. Overall attitude toward Hindus. Did not treat Hindus fairly during his rule. Even though he made improvements in administration, like roads, canals, and justice, when it came to religion and social equality, he followed a harsh and narrow-minded policy. He continued discriminatory laws that had been created by Alauddin Khalji before him. These laws made it harder for Hindus to earn wealth or rise in society. His attitude toward Hindus was shaped more by his religious beliefs than by fairness or tolerance. 2. Banning Hindu wealth. Ghiyas specifically ordered that Hindus should not be allowed to become rich. He believed non-Muslims should live in moderate comfort, meaning they should have just enough to survive, but not enough to build businesses, own land, or gain power. His goal was to keep economic control in the hands of Muslim elites. Result: even hard-working Hindu traders or farmers were not allowed to keep the full fruits of their labor. Their extra earnings were taxed heavily or taken away, so they remained in an average or poor condition. 3. Why he didn't overtax too much. According to the historian Ziauddin Barani, Ghiyas did not overtax Hindus to the maximum level, but not out of kindness. He feared that if he taxed them too heavily, they would abandon their farms and shops, which would hurt the economy and reduce government income. His thinking was practical, not moral. He allowed Hindus to live, but not to grow or thrive. 4. Life for common people. The vast majority of people in India during Ghiyas's rule were Hindus. Because of these religious and economic policies, most people lived under pressure, poverty and fear. Their social status was low, and they had no political power. Although Ghiyas improved infrastructure, roads, canals, etc., life for ordinary Hindus did not improve. So even though the kingdom looked better from the outside, the people inside it, especially Hindus, were not happy. Religious character of Ghiyas-ud-din. 5. Strict Sunni Muslim, Orthodox. Ghiyas was a very strict follower of Islam, especially the Sunni branch. He followed every ritual and law of his religion. He prayed regularly, fasted, and avoided forbidden things. He ruled not just as a king, but also as someone who believed he was defending and protecting Islam. 6. Enforcing Islamic rules on Muslims. He banned alcohol for Muslims and made sure they followed prayers, fasting during Ramadan, other Islamic duties. If Muslims were caught breaking religious rules, they were punished. This shows he tried to combine religion and government, making Islamic law a part of state law, at least for Muslims. 7. Attitude toward other religions, like Hinduism. Ghiyas may not have actively tortured or killed non-Muslims like Hindus, but he destroyed temples during wars. He broke idols, religious statues. He disrespected Hindu places of worship, especially when his army captured new lands. This shows he was not tolerant of other religions, and was openly disrespectful toward them during his military campaigns. Historians say he was not the worst religious persecutor, but his actions were still clearly against religious freedom. Final conclusion. Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq was a strong and capable king in terms of administration, law, justice, infrastructure, roads, canals, communication, postal system. But when it came to how he treated people of different religions, especially Hindus, his rule was aspect, what he did, communication, Hindus' rights, continued old unfair laws against them. Hindu wealth, banned them from becoming rich, taxation policy, didn't need to keep them from Condition of common people. Most Hindus lived unhappy and difficult lives. Religious beliefs. Very strict Sunni Muslim, followed every religious law. Alcohol and laws for Muslims. Banned liquor, enforced Islamic law on all Muslims. Treatment of other religions. Destroyed Hindu temples and idols during wars, showed no religious tolerance. Overall summary in one sentence. Ghiyas-ud-din was a skilled ruler in managing his empire, but ruled with religious intolerance, unfairness to Hindus, and a narrow-minded view that made life hard for most people in his kingdom. Would you like a comic version? A side-by-side comparison with Alauddin Khalji's policies? A dialogue or mini-play between Ghiyas and a Hindu citizen? Let me know. I'll make it just for you. Here is a great, deep and detailed summary of Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq's foreign policy, focusing on the Warangal expedition, written in extremely simple English, but with complete clarity and depth, like the world's best teacher telling you a story with insight. Deep summary. Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq's foreign policy and Warangal campaign. 1. Goal of Ghiyas-ud-din's foreign policy. After becoming the Sultan, Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq wanted to rebuild and strengthen the Delhi Sultanate, bring back control over many Indian states that had stopped obeying Delhi during the weak rule of earlier kings like Khusrav, expand his empire by fully conquering these regions, not just by words, but by military action. So, his foreign policy was aggressive and ambitious. He was not just defending his land, he wanted to grow his kingdom. The main target, Warangal. One of the biggest kingdoms that had stopped obeying Delhi was Warangal, ruled by Prataprudra of the Kakatiya dynasty in South India, modern-day Telangana. Warangal had once agreed to follow the Delhi Sultan, but during weak rule in Delhi, it had refused to listen anymore. Ghiyas could not accept this. He wanted Warangal to fully surrender or to be captured and ruled directly from Delhi. 3. Who was sent? Ulugh Khan, his son. In 1321, Ghiyas sent his own son, Fakhruddin Jona, also known as Ulugh Khan, to lead an army to Warangal. Ulugh Khan was the heir apparent, next in line to be Sultan. This was his first big military campaign, and his test as a future ruler. 4. The war begins. Siege of Warangal. Ulugh Khan marched south with his army and surrounded Warangal. This kind of attack is called a siege, blocking food, water, and support from reaching the city. He harassed and troubled the defenders. Eventually, King Prataprudra got tired and desperate. He asked for peace. But a 5. Ulugh Khan rejects peace. Ulugh Khan was too proud and demanded total surrender, no conditions, no deals. He wanted Prataprudra to give up completely. He rejected the peace offer. This was a bad decision, because it extended the war unnecessarily. It made the enemy more aggressive. 6. War turns against Ulugh Khan. Seeing that Ulugh Khan would not stop, King Prataprudra took bold action. He cut off the communication lines. Messages between Ulugh Khan and Delhi stopped. No updates, no news could reach him. Then rumours spread that Ghiyas-ud-din had died in Delhi. 7. Ulugh Khan panics. Ulugh Khan now feared that his father might be dead, and if he stayed too long in Warangal, someone else might take the throne. On advice from 2 trusted men, a poet named Ubayd and a religious scholar from Damascus, he decided to end the siege and rush back to Delhi. 8. Difficult journey back. On his way back, Ulugh Khan and his army were attacked many times by the people of Telangana, Warangal's region. They were harassed and troubled, making the journey very hard. His escape was not smooth or glorious. It was filled with shame and failure. 9. Final result, a complete failure. The Warangal expedition completely failed. Ulugh Khan returned with nothing. Warangal remained free and independent. Ghiyas-ud-din's first major foreign campaign collapsed. This showed Ulugh Khan lacked experience at that time, and foreign conquest was not going to be easy. Final quick summary table, element, details. Main goal. Ghiyas wanted to bring disobedient states, like Warangal, under control. Who was sent? Ulugh's son. Target, Prataprudra, king of Warangal. Action. Siege of Warangol, peace offer rejected. Twist, communications cut, rumour of king's death. Reaction, Ulugh Khan panicked and returned to Delhi. Trouble, attacked on the way by locals. Outcome, first expedition was a complete failure. That's insights. Why this matters. Ghiyas's ambition to expand his kingdom was clear, but success was not easy. Ulugh Khan's inexperience in leadership showed. Delhi's power was not feared in the south as much as in the north. This failure would later lead to stronger military planning in future campaigns. Would you like a drama-style dialogue of this story? A comic version of this campaign? A map journey of Ulugh Khan's route? Just say the word, I'll make it for you. Here is a great, deep and detailed summary of the second expedition to Warangol 1323 by Jonah Khan, Ulugh Khan, written in very simple English, but rich with clarity, insights and explanation of what really happened and why it mattered. Deep, detailed summary. Second expedition to Warangol 1323. 1. Background: a second chance after first failure. In 1321, Jonah Khan, also called Ulugh Khan, the son of Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq, had been sent to conquer Warangol, a powerful kingdom in South India in present-day Telangana. He failed that time because he believed false news that his father had died. He abandoned the siege attack on the city and rushed back to Delhi. This was seen as a major mistake and a failure in leadership. But Sultan Ghiyas forgave his son and gave him a second chance to complete the mission, this time properly. 2. Return of the Prince, 1323. In 1323, Jonah Khan was again ordered to march south and conquer Warangol. This time he learned from past mistakes. He secured communication lines so that he could stay in touch with Delhi. He made sure there would be no more false rumours or surprises like before. This showed he was now a more mature, careful and smarter commander. 3. Smart planning and early victory. On the way to Warangol, Jonah Khan captured Bidar, a key city in the region. This served as a base camp and a morale booster for the army. It showed his strength and discouraged other local rulers. 4. Siege and final fall of Warangol. Jonah Khan now moved towards Warangol, the capital of the Kakatiya kingdom, ruled by Raja Prataprudra Deva. He began a second siege, but this time it was stronger, better organized, and done with full power and speed. The siege was so effective that the walls fell, the Kakatiya resistance collapsed. Raja Prataprudra, his family, and his nobles were captured. 5. Raja Prataprudra taken to Delhi. After his defeat, Prataprudra Deva was sent to Delhi as a prisoner. This was a powerful symbol of victory, showing that the Delhi Sultanate had defeated a major southern kingdom. This also sent a message to all other Indian rulers: if you break loyalty to Delhi, you will be conquered. 6. Telangana becomes part of Delhi Sultanate. After the victory, the entire Telangana region was occupied by Delhi's forces. The land was divided into districts, like today's administrative areas. These districts were given to Turkish nobles and officers to manage. They collected taxes and kept law and order, all in the name of the Delhi Sultan. 7. Warangol renamed Sultanpur. The city of Warangol was renamed to Sultanpur, which means City of the Sultan. This was to show that Delhi now owned it. Warangol, now Sultanpur, became the capital of a new province, state of the Delhi Empire. From a proud independent kingdom, Warangol became just one part of the growing Delhi Sultanate. Key takeaways and insights. Insight, explanation. Jonah Khan learned from his mistake. He improved communication and war strategy in his second expedition. Smarter planning worked. Winning Bidar first and cutting off resistance made the final siege easier. Delhi's power expanded. Telangana, a rich, fertile, strategic region, became part of the empire. Administrative control was established, new districts, new officials. Delhi now directly ruled the area. Symbolism was powerful. Changing the name from Warangol to Sultanpur was a way of stamping ownership. Jonah Khan's reputation recovered. He turned a past failure into a great success. and earned the Empire's trust. Final summary table. Event description: failure in 1321. Jaunar Khan ran from Warangul after false news of Sultan's death. Return and apology. He came back, apologized, and was forgiven. Bad advisors were punished. Second expedition, 1323. He returned, better prepared. This time, communication lines were secured. Victory at Bidar, captured on the way as a warm-up and strategic move. Warangul defeated. Strong siege led to full capture of the city and the Raja. Prataprudra captured, sent to Delhi, showing Delhi's victory. Telangana annexed, became part of the Delhi Empire, managed by Turkish nobles. Warangul renamed, now called Sultanpur, and made the provincial capital. Would you like a comic strip of this story? A map showing the campaign? A mini-play with dialogues between Jaunar Khan and the Raja? Let me know. I'll make it for you with visuals and characters. Absolutely. Here's a great, deep and detailed summary of the events you asked about. The raid on Utkala, the rebellion in Bengal, and the campaign in Tirhut, Mithila, all written in simple, clear English with strong explanation and insight. Great, deep, detailed summary. Context: who is involved? Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq, the Sultan ruler of Delhi. Jaunar Khan, also called Ulu Khan, his son and military commander. These events took place after Jaunar Khan's conquest of Warangul in South India, as the Sultan and his son were expanding their empire. Part 1. Raid on Utkala, present-day Odisha. While returning from Telangana, Warangul, Prince Jaunar Khan decided to raid the nearby kingdom of Utkala. Muslim writers called it Jajnagar. This was not a full war, but a quick military attack to grab riches. He captured 50 elephants, which were extremely valuable for use in war, and other treasures, such as gold, ornaments, and supplies. Why it matters: this showed Delhi's military strength even during travel. Elephants were like military tanks. Capturing them meant power. It added wealth and glory to Jaunar Khan's reputation. He then continued his journey back to Delhi, rich with treasure from both Telangana and Utkala. Part 2. Rebellion in Bengal. 3 brothers fight for the throne. The conflict. Bengal, a rich eastern region, was unstable. After earlier weak rulers, 3 brothers fought for power. Ghiyas-ud-din, ruler of East Bengal, Shihab-ud-din, and Nasir-ud-din. In 1319, Ghiyas-ud-din defeated Shihab-ud-din and took control of the capital, Lakanauti. Nasir-ud-din's appeal. Nasir-ud-din, the 3rd brother, wanted to rule too. Instead of fighting himself, he asked Sultan Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq of Delhi for help. The Sultan agreed, not only to help but to personally march to Bengal to restore control and support his loyal follower. The campaign. On the way to Bengal, the Sultan stopped at Tirhut, where he met Nasir-ud-din. He then sent his trusted general Zafar Khan to attack Lakanauti. Ghiyas-ud-din, the rebellious brother, was defeated and captured. What happened next? Nasir-ud-din was made ruler of West Bengal, but as a vassal, meaning he ruled under Delhi's authority. East Bengal was not given to any local king. It was directly annexed to the Delhi Sultanate. After solving this, the Sultan returned with large amounts of treasure, booty, from Bengal. Why it matters: Delhi re-established strong control over Bengal. It showed how Delhi could interfere in local disputes and come out richer and stronger. The Sultan's personal involvement showed how seriously he took loyalty. Part 3. Attack on Tirhut, Mithila. While returning from Bengal, the Sultan passed through Tirhut in the Mithila region of Bihar. The local ruler was Rajahar Singh Deva, a Hindu king. The Sultan suspected that this king was not fully loyal to Delhi, maybe disobeying or not paying tribute, tax. So Ghiyas-ud-din attacked Tirhut and forced the king to surrender. After this, the Sultan returned to Delhi, having conquered Warangul, raided Utkala, fixed the Bengal problem, and punished the Tirhut ruler. Deep insights. Theme. Power projection. By attacking even while returning from battle, Jaunar Khan and the Sultan showed strength and kept nearby rulers fearful. Resource gain. Raids like the one on Utkala were not just about fighting, They were about collecting war resources, especially elephants. Political stability. The Sultan intervened in Bengal to stop civil war between three brothers, ensuring Delhi's control. Territorial expansion. East Bengal was annexed, meaning it became an official part of loyalty enforcement. The Sultan dealt with disloyal rulers like Raja Harsing Deva to prevent future rebellion. Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq personally led armies, a sign of a hands-on, active ruler who didn't just sit on the throne. Final summary table. Region. What happened? Result. Utkola Orissa. Quick raid by Jauna Khan, 50 elephants and treasure captured. Bengal. Rebellion between three brothers. Delhi defeated rebel, installed loyal ruler and annexed half. Tirhut, Mithila. Suspicion of disloyalty. Raja forced to surrender to Delhi. Conclusion. This period showed Delhi Sultanate at its strongest, conquering faraway lands like expanding north and south, taking action against rebels and doubtful kings, and growing richer with each campaign. Sultan Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq proved himself as a bold, active and clever ruler, focused on power, discipline and expansion. Would you like this as a comic strip or animated storyboard next? I can create 4 to 6 illustrated panels with captions for better memory and revision. Certainly. Here's a great, deep and detailed summary of the Mongol invasion of 1324 during the reign of Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq, written in the simplest and clearest language, with added background and historical meaning. Great, deep, detailed summary. The Mongol invasion of 1324. Historical background. For many years, the Mongols had been a serious threat to India. They came from Central Asia, led by powerful warrior clans. They had already invaded India multiple times during the 1200s and early 1300s. Their raids were often deadly, causing widespread destruction and fear. But by the time of Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq, the Delhi Sultanate had become stronger and more prepared to fight back. What happened in 1324? Who was ruling? The Sultan of Delhi was Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq. His son, Jauna Khan, was his top general. At this time, Jauna Khan was away in southern India, the Deccan, leading military campaigns. The invasion. While Jauna Khan was absent, a new Mongol army invaded northern India. They likely saw this as a good opportunity, thinking Delhi was weak without its top general. Their goal was probably to loot, destroy, and possibly take over territory. The battle and Delhi's defense. Despite Jauna Khan's absence, Delhi's army was well organized. The remaining commanders and soldiers fought bravely. They successfully defeated the Mongol invaders. Key victory. Not only did Delhi's forces win the battle, but they also captured the Mongol leaders. These captured Mongol commanders were brought to Delhi. This act was symbolic and powerful. It showed that Delhi was strong, fearless, and victorious. No more Mongol invasions. After this defeat, no Mongol army dared to invade India again during Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq's reign. The message was clear. Delhi was strong, even if the top general was away. Any attack would lead to defeat and capture. Why this event was important? Aspect. Meaning. Military strength. Even without Jauna Khan, Delhi's army was strong and capable. Leadership. Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq had trained and prepared his commanders well. Security. This victory gave Delhi and northern India a long break from Mongol invasions. Fear factor. The Mongols realized India was too well defended to attack again. Prestige. Capturing enemy generals boosted Delhi's reputation across the region. Simple real-life analogy. Think of it like this. A family's eldest son is away, and suddenly robbers try to break into the house. But the younger brothers and sisters fight back so well that not only are the robbers beaten, but their leaders are tied up and handed to the police. After that, no thief dares come back again. That's what Delhi did to the Mongols in 1324. Final summary table. Year, event, result. 1324. Mongols invaded northern India while Jauna Khan was away. Delhi army defeated them. Aftermath, Mongol generals were captured and brought to Delhi. No more Mongol invasions under Ghiyas-ud-din. Legacy. Delhi became known for its strong military defense. Northern India remained safe for years. If you'd like, I can now make a comic strip, a timeline chart, or a quiz on this event to help you revise it better. Would you like that?
Absolutely. Here's a great, deep, and detailed summary of the death of Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq, written in the simplest, clearest English, with all background, causes, events, and meaning explained like a story, so that even a beginner or child can understand it fully. The death of Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq. Deep, detailed summary. 1. Who was Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq? Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq was the founder of the Tughlaq dynasty and Sultan of Delhi. He was a strong ruler who brought order, discipline, and justice to the kingdom. He had a son named Jauna Khan, whom he had chosen to be the next king after him. 2. The campaign in Bengal. Ghiyas-ud-din had gone on a military campaign to Bengal, eastern India, to expand his empire and defeat rebels. He was successful and planned to return to Delhi after the victory. He also brought many elephants and treasures back with him, a sign of victory. 3. Suspicions about Jauna Khan. While the king was away, reports started coming in that worried him deeply. His son Jauna Khan was acting suspiciously. He was gathering more followers, like building his own group of supporters. He had become very close to a powerful Sufi saint named Shaykh Nizam-ud-din Aulia, who did not get along with the king. People said the saint had prophesied, that Jauna Khan would soon become the king. Astrologers also predicted that the Sultan, Ghiyas-ud-din, would not return to Delhi alive. This made the king very angry and fearful. He felt that his son might be plotting to take the throne before his time. 4. The king rushes back. Hearing all these disturbing things, the Sultan warned Jauna Khan that he was displeased, threatened Nizam-ud-din Aulia, decided to return to Delhi as fast as possible by what we call forced marches, pushing the army to travel day and night without rest. Before the king reached Delhi, Nizam-ud-din Aulia made a calm and mysterious remark. Hunus Dilli Durast, which means, Delhi is still far away. This became a famous line in Indian history, almost like a warning that something bad might happen before the king reached Delhi. 5. The pavilion at Afghanpur. Jauna Khan, knowing his father was returning, prepared a grand reception at a village named Afghanpur, about 6 miles away from Delhi. He built a large wooden pavilion, a kind of decorated shelter or hall, where his father would rest, eat, and be welcomed. But this was no ordinary building. It was secretly built to collapse if a certain part of it was touched. This weak point was cleverly designed so that when elephants touched it, the structure would fall down. This was a trap, hidden under the appearance of a loving welcome. 6. The king walks into the trap. When the Sultan arrived, 1. Jauna Khan welcomed him warmly under the pavilion. 2. They had a royal meal together. Everything looked normal. 3. After the meal, Jauna Khan requested his father to show him the elephants he brought from Bengal. This request sounded innocent, but it was part of the plan. 4. The elephants were brought near the pavilion. 5. When one or more touched the weak part, the entire pavilion collapsed. 7. The death of Ghiyas-ud-din. The falling wooden roof crushed the king, Ghiyas-ud-din, and his younger son, Prince Mahmud Khan. People say, Jauna Khan waited before ordering people to dig them out. He didn't act quickly. When the debris was finally removed, the king's body was found bent over his younger son, trying to shield or protect him. It was a tragic and shocking death, and many believed it was not an accident, but a planned murder by Jauna Khan. 8. Jauna Khan becomes king. After his father's death, Jauna Khan took the throne and became Sultan Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Some people believed he murdered his own father to become king faster. Others think it was just a tragic accident, but most historical accounts strongly suggest it was a conspiracy. He ruled Delhi for many years, and although he was very intelligent, his rule became known for wild experiments, strange ideas, and unusual failures. Historical importance. This story shows the dangers of royal ambition, betrayal, and power struggles within families. It also shows how prophecies and saints could influence kings and princes in medieval India. The phrase, Delhi is still far away became a symbol of uncertainty and fate. You never know what may happen before your goal is reached. Short, simple summary. Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq, king of Delhi, was returning from a war in Bengal when he heard his son, Jonah Khan, was plotting to become king. Jonah Khan welcomed him with a wooden pavilion near Delhi, but it was secretly designed to collapse. When elephants touched it, the roof fell, and the king and his younger son were crushed. Many believe Jonah did this on purpose to take the throne. Soon after, he became king as Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Would you like a comic strip, timeline chart, or dialogue-style version of this next? Certainly. Here's a great, deep, detailed, and very simple summary of the debate about Prince Jonah Khan's involvement in his father's death. This summary explains everything clearly, step by step, with background, meaning, examples, and why it matters, like the world's best teacher guiding a total beginner. Deep, detailed summary. Was Prince Jonah Khan responsible for his father's death? When Sultan Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq died under a collapsing pavilion, there was great confusion and shock. Was it a tragic accident, or was it a clever murder plot by his own son, Prince Jonah Khan? Historians have different opinions about what really happened. Two different views. Historians disagree. View 1. Jonah Khan was innocent, supported by Dr. Mahdi Hussain. He says the pavilion fell naturally. It was just an accident, maybe because the structure was weak or badly built. According to this view, Jonah Khan had no bad intentions. He didn't plan to harm his father. Like a wooden chair breaking suddenly, nobody pushed it. It just broke. View 2. Jonah Khan planned the murder. Supported by Sir Wolseley Haig and Dr. Ishwari Prasad. They say it was a plot, a secret and clever plan made by the prince to kill his father and take the throne. The pavilion was purposely built to collapse when elephants touched a certain spot, like someone setting a trap to make a roof fall at the exact moment. Why the second view seems more believable? Many people think the second view is more correct, that Jonah Khan secretly caused his father's death. Why? Because there's stronger evidence to support it. The evidence comes from Ibn Battuta, a famous traveler. He was a Muslim explorer from Morocco, Africa. He visited India and wrote detailed records of what he saw and heard. He was very famous and trusted as a reliable source of history. What did Battuta say? Battuta said he got the story from Sheikh Rukn-ud-din, a religious man, who was present inside the pavilion when the king arrived. But then, just before the elephants were brought, Jonah Khan asked him to leave to go and pray. Soon after he left, the pavilion collapsed, and the king was crushed to death. Why is this important? It shows that Jonah may have known the exact moment the building would fall, and he sent the man away on purpose, so there would be no eyewitness when it happened. What this suggests? The small detail, sending someone out just before the event, makes many historians believe that Jonah Khan timed everything carefully. The meal, the elephants, and the collapse were all part of a well-planned trap. The pavilion was designed to fall when the elephants touched it. This makes the event look like an accident, but was really a murder disguised as an accident. What happened afterwards? After Ghiyas-ud-din's death, Jonah Khan became Sultan Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He ruled Delhi for many years. Though very intelligent, he became known for his strange ideas, failed experiments, and harsh decisions. Final simple summary. After Sultan Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq died when a pavilion collapsed on him, historians started asking, was it an accident or murder by his own son, Jonah Khan? Two opinions developed. One, Dr. Mahdi Hussain said it was just an accident. The pavilion fell on its own. Jonah was innocent. Two, Sir Wolseley Haig and Dr. Ishwari Prasad said it was a clever plot. Jonah designed the pavilion to fall when elephants came, killing his father on purpose. The second view is more believable because of a story from Ibn Battuta, a famous traveler. He said that a man named Sheikh Rukn-ud-din, who was inside the pavilion, was told by Jonah to leave for prayers, right before the elephants came and the roof fell. This makes it seem that Jonah Khan knew what would happen and didn't want the man to witness it. So, many believe Jonah planned his father's death to take the throne and became Sultan Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Would you like a timeline, character role map, or comparison chart to make it even easier to remember? Absolutely. Here's a great, deep, and detailed summary of the entire passage about Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq's rule and character, written in very simple English, with full clarity, examples, and extra explanation, like the best teacher guiding a total beginner. Great, deep, detailed summary. Topic: Estimate or Judgment of Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq. This passage tells us what kind of ruler Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq was, what qualities he had, how he ruled, and how his rule helped the people. Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq was a strong, trained military man. When he became the king, he was already a very experienced soldier and army general. He had fought many battles and had led troops. This made him a capable ruler, someone who could protect the kingdom from enemies and handle military matters wisely. Example: he didn't become king by luck. He earned it by working hard and showing skill on the battlefield. 2. He had a good past record, honest, loyal, and trusted. Even before becoming king, he was known as a loyal servant of the earlier sultans. He was faithful and never tried to betray or cheat the rulers above him. He was also a warden of the marches, meaning he was trusted to guard the borders of the empire. Like a reliable army officer placed at the gate of a fortress, and he never let enemies enter. 3. He had all the good qualities of a great ruler. People believed he had almost every important trait a good king needs: strength, intelligence, loyalty, discipline, sense of justice, care for people. His rule was not just powerful, but also wise and kind. 4. He brought peace and ended crime in the kingdom. Before he became king, the kingdom was full of theft, robbery, and attacks by gangs, called brigands. But Ghiyas-ud-din quickly brought law and order. He stopped crimes, cleared the roads of danger, and made the land safe for ordinary people. Like a police chief who comes to a city full of crime and turns it into a peaceful place. 5. He treated enemies and nobles with balance and wisdom. After defeating Khusrav Khan, the earlier ruler, there were many powerful nobles and officers who had once supported Khusrav. Instead of punishing all of them harshly, Ghiyas-ud-din used moderation, the middle path. He forgave many and won their loyalty through kindness. He also made peace with the old noble families, so they didn't rebel against him. Example: like a king who says, "Let's not fight over the past. Help me now, and I'll respect you." 6. He understood the importance of farmers, more than any sultan before him. Ghiyas-ud-din was probably the first king in Delhi who really understood that. If farmers are happy and rich, the whole kingdom becomes rich. He knew that food, taxes, and even army supplies depend on farmers, so he gave special care to the agriculturists, the people who till the land and grow crops. 7. He made wise farming and tax policies. He told his tax officers, "Don't just raise taxes on farmers, help them farm more land instead." That way, farmers could grow more crops. They could earn more. The state could collect more tax without making people suffer. This policy was gentle, helpful, and clever, unlike earlier kings who simply kept raising taxes. Like saying, "Don't take more from the poor farmer, help him earn more, so both the farmer and the kingdom grow." 8. He dealt wisely with local rural leaders, muqaddams, chaudharis. These were village-level officials who had inherited their positions. Some kings had trouble with them. But Ghiyas-ud-din chose a middle path. He didn't remove them, and he didn't let them act freely either. He balanced power and control so that both the state and the village, like a manager who keeps the local shopkeepers happy, but still checks on their work. 9. Because of his policies, people became more prosperous. In simple words, because of Ghiyas-ud-din's good rule, there was peace. Crime was low. Farming increased. Taxes were fair. People earned more and lived better. This led to material prosperity, meaning people had better food, clothes, homes, and income during his reign. He made the kingdom richer without crushing the people. Final simple summary. 1 paragraph. Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq was a brave and wise ruler who had military skill, honesty, and fairness. He stopped crime, brought peace, and treated no balance. Most importantly, he cared deeply for farmers. He knew that a kingdom grows only when the farmers are happy, so he helped them farm more land instead of raising taxes unfairly. He managed local officials wisely and created a peaceful and prosperous time for the people. Because of all this, his rule is remembered as one of stability, safety, and growth. Would you like a comic strip of this summary? A chart comparing his rule to earlier kings? Or a timeline of his major actions? Just ask. Here's a great, deep, and detailed summary of the passage about Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq's military, religious views, buildings, treasure, and love of knowledge, written in the simplest and clearest way possible, like a world-class teacher explaining to someone with no background in history. Great, deep, detailed summary. Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq's policies and personality. 1. A strong focus on the army. Ghiyas-ud-din believed that the strength and safety of his kingdom depended on the army. He gave special care to military matters and made sure the army stayed disciplined, honest, and always ready. He kept the army system in perfect condition, called keeping it in proper trim. He continued the smart reforms of the earlier king Ala-ud-din Khilji. Each soldier's details were written down carefully, called descriptive rolls. Each army horse was branded, marked, so that no one could cheat by replacing them with weak or old horses. These reforms helped stop corruption in the army and made it efficient and trustworthy. 2. His religious views. A strict Sunni Muslim, Ghiyas-ud-din was a very strict follower of Sunni Islam. He followed Islamic law rigidly, without flexibility. He was not openly cruel to people who followed other religions, mostly Hindus, but he also did not support them, protect their temples, or help their religious needs. He showed no sympathy toward the religious feelings of the non-Muslim majority. In short, he ruled with strict Islamic discipline, but without open persecution. 3. Love for architecture. Building Tughlaq Ghiyas-ud-din loved construction and wanted to leave behind a glorious city to show his power. Early in his reign, he built a new fort city called Tughlaq near Delhi. Inside this walled city, he made his main palace, made of gold-covered bricks that shone so brightly in the sunlight that people couldn't even stare at it. Other official and administrative buildings. Tughlaq became a symbol of his pride, wealth, and royal image. 4. Incredible wealth and treasure. According to the famous traveler Ibn Battuta, Ghiyas-ud-din had huge treasure rooms. In one of these rooms, there was a cistern, a tank-like container, into which molten gold, liquid gold, was poured. Once the gold cooled, it turned into a single solid block of gold, an amazing display of wealth. This shows how rich and powerful Ghiyas-ud-din was, and how he liked to collect and display treasure in grand ways. Supporter of knowledge, poets, and scholars. Even though he was strict in religion and rule, Ghiyas-ud-din loved learning and culture. He invited scholars and poets to his court. He supported education, religious learning, and the arts. He gave money and respect to wise people, showing that he valued intellectual growth. He combined military strength with cultural development, like a king who wanted both power and knowledge in his empire. Final super simple summary, all points together. Ghiyas-ud-din Tughlaq was a strong, strict, and proud ruler. He took excellent care of his army, using strong and honest military systems. Was a very strict Muslim who followed his religion carefully but didn't support the majority Hindu religion of his people. Built a grand city called Tughlaq with palaces made of shiny golden bricks. Had enormous wealth, including a huge block of gold in his treasure room. Was also a lover of knowledge and supported scholars and poets at his court. His reign was a mix of strength and order, luxury and pride, strict faith, and cultural support. He left behind a memory of a disciplined, rich, and cultured empire. Would you like a comic strip version of this summary? A memory sheet with bullet points? Or a comparison with other sultans like Ala-ud-din Khilji? Just ask. I'll create the best learning tool for you.